Good evening, guys. This is Joseph, and you're listening to the Bible Version Conspiracy. I've written a new introduction that I'm going to experiment with tonight. So let me pull that out, and we'll get right to the question of whether the number of the beast is 666 or 616, as you see sometimes these days. Alrighty. You guys can let me know how this sounds. I'm still working on the the introduction to this. It's probably not final yet, but here goes. And I know I've gotten starting pretty late this evening. But yeah. Tonight has not been an easy night. I'm not sure if, the enemy has had any influence on how the evening has gone, but it has not gone smoothly. So we're starting now, and I guess better late than never. So for those of you that are just joining us, and for people that are new, as I know every video is someone's first, welcome to the Bible Version Conspiracies weekly public live stream where we expose the conspiracy we believe lies behind the modern version controversy. If somehow you happen to enjoy the conspiracy theories we make up, which usually end up happening out to be true, crush the like button and subscribe to the channel so I don't have to. Until together for this video, I haven't had a chance to put anything in there yet. And in the comment section, I will see all the comments and I will respond. Email me your thoughts or your questions at thebibleversionconspiracy@gmail.com. Help us as we dig the rabbit hole deeper by buying us a book at buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong. Check out our custom merch at bibleversionconspiracy.myspreadshop.com. Hopefully, we will be changing that soon. And as always, your prayers and shares are what keep us going and what keeps us growing. So, with that, let's get into 666 or 616. I'm hoping to get some technology here, a 75-foot cable, and an adapter. I'm thinking that with an additional USB hub, it should be what I need. I hope, fingers crossed, to be able to do video on these live streams again. This is kind of the, this is the commitment level that I'm at right now for weekly content. I want to do a couple more live streams, possibly one private, where we go through the possibly Gail Riplinger's books, and I don't have a solidified plan for that yet. That's why they haven't happened yet, because I don't know quite what to do. And if you guys if you guys want to, you guys can share this video before we actually finish it, or you can send it out after you've enjoyed it. Because it is discouraging to see 4 people show up and 2 leave in the first 5 minutes, but I understand. So, another thing that I wanna do is I wanna start a prayer list for the channel. You guys can, leave your prayer requests in the, studio section. The, what's it called? The live chat. At this present time, and you can leave them in the comments. It's probably less likely to be seen then. If you want to be sure that it'll be seen, you can leave it in live chat, and I can see it in real time instead of having to pick up notification later on. So that's just a helpful note for you guys. So to start the prayer list, if you guys want to include the first names involved, so the person to be praying for, or if it's you, the state or country that you're from, and the need. That's all the information that we need. I'm not sure that unspoken prayer requests really perform an efficient service. I don't know. I've got mixed emotions about unspoken prayer requests, but if you really, really have one that you just really can't talk about, then I understand. But I would try to keep those to a bare minimum. The first one is my aunt and uncle, Jane and Jim. They are moving out here to New York State, where I am from Colorado. They are both originally from here, and they moved to Colorado back in these, I believe. So I've been out there my almost my entire adult life. So they're headed here now, and they've faced a lot of issues because my uncle's health is terrible. He's got a lot of liver issues and just different things, and he needs a lot of prayer. So if you guys can keep Jane and Jim in prayer, that would be awesome. Also, Jemima, one of our friends, her husband died recently of a heart attack, completely out of the blue. She had no idea that it was coming, and neither did he. And it took his life the next day completely. So it was rough. He leaves behind a wife and 6 children, ranging from, I believe, about 12 to 2 years old. So if you keep them in prayer, they really, really need it. The funeral is, I believe, on Tuesday. So I'm going to pray for them real quick, and we're going to dive into this. Dear God, thank you for this night, and thank you for this live stream and the people that have showed up to it. Dear God, thank you for this little practice group that you've given me to talk to and to try to figure out technological issues and organizational issues and just everything else. Lord, help for that to work its way out, and for this channel to grow as it merits it, as I merit it, as you prepare me to be able to handle more than just 3 people late on Friday night. Please help me as I pursue this channel and this goal that I believe that you want me to do. And if it's not something you want me to pursue, please tell me, and we'll follow you into what you have for us. And please help us with our other ministry, card carrying Christians, as well. Please help for that to see growth, and help me as I add content to it to choose wisely, and for people that really need the website to get it somehow. Please help my aunt and uncle, Jane and Jim. Help them as they're traveling, and my uncle with his health issues. Lord, he's got a lot of them, and he needs a lot of help, and help for him to possibly find some help when he's here in New York, for him to find good physicians like your word talks about, and good natural remedies. And please help them as they're traveling out as well by plane, and them settling into their new home, because it's not going to be easy, especially on Jim. Please help them, God. and help them as they're in the hospital. Also help Jemima, please. Lord, I didn't mention it before, but she also had a stillbirth just a few months ago. And dear God, now she's lost her husband. And her life is completely ripping apart, and she has no idea why. Please help her as her friends, family, and community come around her, and please hold her close and help her children, Lord. I don't know what you have in store for that family, Lord, but it's a great opportunity that most of us will never face. And it's a great heartache that most of us will never have to endure. Please keep other people safe from that terrible occurrence, and please help Jemima as she's trying to recover with it and accept it, and please help her, God. I can't even imagine what must be going through her mind. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so we kept all 3 viewers. At least everybody had their head bowed and their eyes closed as we went through that. That's good. You guys weren't able to click away, so that's nice. If you guys want to leave any comments in the live chat, let me know who is watching, where you are, who are you and where did you come from? Tripping over my words. Well, it's almost 11 o'clock. I think I deserve to do that. Oh, let's see. I'm going to need something to drink, because if I don't, I'm going to dry out. And you guys are more than welcome to send me information. Just lost another viewer. Wow, this is nice. Whatever. 2 people, if that's all I deserve at this point. I totally understand and I agree. Let's see. Oh, by the way, Gail Riplinger's huge project, avpublications.com. That's what it is. This last thank box that we sent her for Mother's Day, she replied with more information about her website and the plans for that. Her books are digitized and available in PDF format, and a lot of other books. I think she's working on doing that too. There's a lot of downloads that are available from AV Publications over different tapes and things like that. So those can be purchased and listened to on your laptop, your cell phone, your vehicles now, and just it opens up the information that has been stored in a 90s, a 90s format website. And it's a lot better now. It's not quite perfect, but it is worlds different from the original website. It actually functions, and there's many, many features that you can take advantage of. Again, that is AV as an authorized version, avpublications.com. And again, that's Gail Riplinger's website. So, 666 or 616. Let's read the passage. How about that? Now, that's a novel idea. How about if we read the passage associated with the issue at hand? Revelation. You guys can open up to it. It's a Revelation 13:18, which is interesting to me because 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6. How about that? To be honest, I didn't know that if after I finished praying if we would have any viewers left. And now we're back up to 4, which is nice. Let's see. Eventually, I'd like to bring guests on here and just, there's just so many things that I want to do with this. I do have the topics anyways in a row for the next about a year. I have this a list that goes for topics, and I'm keeping those under my hat for now. Those of you that are either in our messenger group, you guys can ask about what's coming up next if you want. I will tell you that I am hoping, I am planning, I am projecting for June the 3rd to be our library tour, but that is to be understood if we have the technology and if our internet is cooperating and if my laptop is cooperating. If not, I'm not sure what we'll do. I'm pretty sure that at this point we're not ready for a Q&A because I don't know if I've demonstrated myself as any kind of authority on this issue yet. So, I mean, I might not be ready for a Q&A, but I mean, and also probably nobody has questions for me anyways. It seems like every live stream there are none. But if anything comes to mind, please remember to leave it in the live chat, or you can email me at bibleversionconspiracy@gmail.com. Okay. Revelation 13:18. Starting verse 17. This is where the false prophet causes all, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their forehead to show that they are a worshiper of the beast, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. In verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. Oh, okay. So this is it has 3 different nouns, not necessarily 3 different things, but it says that you have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now it sounds like you could have the beast's mark, you can have his name, or you can have his number. So, and those that get the mark of the beast at least go to hell. I will have to double check that because now that I'm thinking of it, and right after this, the saints of God are sealed in their foreheads, and they have the name of Christ's Father written in their foreheads in verse 1. So those that receive the mark of the beast, I believe that's Revelation 14. Let's see, yeah, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without measure into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast or his image, or whoso receiveth the mark of his name. Worship the beast or his image, or receive the mark of his name. So the name, the number, the mark are all the same thing. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And then it goes on from there. Finishing up verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, I did a YouTube short not too long ago about the number of the beast, and apparently this is what Ken Johnson has said. That's Dr. Ken Johnson of biblefacts.org. I'll try to put a link to his website in the description. So I will write notes at the bottom of this. So add Bible Facts, because I haven't constructed the description yet. Biblefacts.org. Add to description. All right. So he says that Irenaeus was asked, and he claims to have been an apostle of John. To my knowledge, Ken Johnson does not question that. David W. Daniels has serious questions as to whether or not he actually was a disciple of John. However, I have serious questions as to whether or not it's even legitimate to have doubts that he was without further evidence. It seems like sometimes he wasn't always the most accurate. For instance, I believe it was him that claimed that Jesus was like 40 or something like that when he died. But we believe that he was around 33 years old. It kind of makes sense with symbolism, and it makes sense in a scriptural context of how many feasts there were that are mentioned in the Gospels and things. However, it does not mean that he actually was. We would have to see, is the Bible doesn't talk about how old he was. It says that he was about 30 years old at one point. And, when he started his ministry and things. So it doesn't, it doesn't necessarily follow that he wasn't that old. So we will have to see. I tell you what, I'm feeling like 40 years old tonight. But I am 30 for the record. I just don't necessarily feel it all the time. It's like right now my neck hurts like crazy. And my shoulders aren't the greatest either right now, but I don't know. I've got to get adjustments and health supplements and just different things. So, and if you guys want to help us at all, our family has plenty of supplement and appointment needs and things that aren't generally covered by insurance, like chiropractor work and just different things. You guys can feel free to add any amount that you would like to that at buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong. Check out the wish list tab, and check out the wish lists tab there. And there's a few different things you guys can contribute to there, technology-wise, health-wise. And I'm hoping to add books here eventually, so you guys can literally buy me a book. That's the theme of our Buy Me a Coffee page. All right, so let's see. In Revelation 13:18 in Greek, there are, I believe, 3 different letters that represent 666. So it's not like written out in Greek 666. It doesn't have all those words and letters. It's just 3. So you see a variation from 666 in the form of 616 in, I believe, 2 or 3 manuscripts. I believe one of them is the Ephraim Scriptus, which is a palimpsest manuscript where the old one that was written before it was scraped off and written over. And I'm not sure, but I think that the text of that they're talking about would be the text that was there beforehand. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about the Ephraim Scriptus, but still learning, still learning. And P115, that's a papyrus fragment. Doesn't mean it was old. Doesn't mean that anybody has done any kind of work on the papyrus's chemical makeup. We haven't checked the inks or the paper or anything to see how old they are. We just see a scrap of papyrus fragment that was apparently written on by somebody in a form that looks relatively like how they wrote in the first century, and we assume, or first or second century, and we assume that that was how it was, and Christians just accept it because, oh, it verifies the New Testament was written out at such and such a date, and that's about it. And it's just left that way, and people don't test things, they just accept them, and that's sad. We could be introducing all kinds of just absolute wacky readings, evidence, just crazy things this way. It's sad. We've dealt with a lot of this in our last series that we did, the Simonides versus Tischendorf series. 2 parts on Simonides and one, our last live stream, was on Tischendorf. If either of those, if that subject of whether or not Sinaiticus is actually a 4th century document or if it was possibly made in the 18th century, those of you that have hung around this know exactly how significant that would be. You guys can check out those 2 live streams on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bibleversionconspiracy. So, why would a few manuscripts of Revelation 13:18 say 616 instead of 666? There are a few different theories. What I've heard Irenaeus actually write. He said that the better reading was 666 because that's what John told him it was supposed to be. So that's kind of where that's left. Ken Johnson, on the other hand, has said that Irenaeus, I suppose, in another place, says that 666 is the original number and that a typo by which would be fairly simple to perform, a typo that would write a different character or the same character slightly different, made it 616 instead, leaving out a value of 50, because if you add 50 back in, then it would make sense. So another thing that Irenaeus wrote, now to finish up Ken Johnson, what he said is that Irenaeus wrote this out to explain how this happened. Somebody's like, well, what is it, 616 or 666? And he said, and he's writing in the first couple centuries, he's like, I know the guy that did it. He had a bad day or whatever, and the typo slipped through. It's nothing weird's going on. We know the guy, and he is a good man. And if you find copies that say 616, then, basically just return it for a full refund. It never should have left the the copy shop. We try to do the best that we can, but once in a while, things screw up. So that was his explanation for how it happened, according to Ken Johnson. I have not heard that story or that quotation from Irenaeus. I have not. Irenaeus also said that he asked John, and I'm sorry for the two people that have checked out of this live stream because apparently they were bored to tears. But Irenaeus said that he asked John, "Hey, what's this deal with the 666 thing? What is that supposed to mean?" And John's like, "Well, the gematria thing where you've got, we've got letters that are different, have different number values, and you add them up and you get a total, and that's the number of a certain word. So, the name of the Antichrist is adding up to 666. Now, that depends on a lot of things because in the context, what's written on the head of, I believe, the dragon at least is, and possibly also the beast, I can't remember now, um, is the name of blasphemy. Now, I have not checked this out because I've only had a few days to get ready for this live stream. Um, Listening to YouTube videos and trying to find information and stuff like this. Um, and apparently, I think that the word blasphemy, let me see if I can check. I don't know if I wrote this down. No, it doesn't look like I did. Um, I think the word, whatever the total of the word blasphemy would be, I believe, I believe it's 666 for the total for the word blasphemy. Also, I believe Jesus Christ, I believe, is also adds up to six. I'm almost positive. Um, a lot of people, I believe, at the time, and some people still today, believe that Nero Kaiser or Nero Caesar or Neron Kaiser sometimes that Antichrist in the first century, and apparently it was a Jewish belief that that Nero would actually be to be Earth. I'm not sure where where that belief comes from. Where it comes from, I would love to see it. So Nero can be written out in several different languages, and each of them has their own um, gematria. I'm not sure if I just made up a word. Set of numbers. So Nero Kaiser, I believe, would be in the Latin, and that adds up to 616. So some people think that that variation 616 instead of 666 actually was kind of read back into these Greek manuscripts from other Latin copies. If that's true, that's very interesting because then that papyrus, which I'm not sure about the date of the papyrus were not only copied from the first and second centuries, they were at other times too. And they're all fragmented because papyrus is garbage. It just falls apart all the time in fragments, and then you're only left with scraps. Um, so Nero in Latin, Nero Kaiser is 616. If you say Neron Kaiser, I believe that's still the Latin. So in Hebrew, it's supposed to line up to 666. Latin is 616 if you add up Nero Kaiser's name, and in Greek, it's 666. Something similar happens with Aleister Crowley. I believe Aleister Crowley, which I don't remember his birth name, but that wasn't his birth name. Aleister Crowley was um, so that he would get the gematria significance to be able to add his name up in, I believe it was Hebrew, Greek, and English Kabbalah. Um, to be able to add his name up in all those different languages to 666. So that's the significance behind his name, and he used to call himself the Great Beast. The Megatherion is what they would refer to him as, Great and Beast. So, one of the articles that brought this whole 616 craze on was from a Russian physicist that was having a problem with CERN because a lot of their calculations and things were based off of 616, and they were constantly warning about portals and what might come through them or what might get sucked into them or who knows what. And this Russian scientist or diplomat or whatever he was very concerned. Sorry about it, and tried to get attention from Trump and Putin about the whole issue. I'm not sure how that whole thing turned out, but that was an article that I heard and read about. So that's pretty interesting how that plays in. Oh, let's see. So I listened to a few different things in my literature search, and I was sad and disappointed. I had somebody check because I don't have it. I only have one of Dr. Peter Ruckman's commentaries. That is the one on Proverbs, and that's all. That's all I've got. I'd probably like to get. Excuse me. I'd probably like to get other ones, but then I'm not really sure which ones I would want to get. So Proverbs just seemed like a really good one to have, practical one. But it doesn't have a word about the 616 thing. In real time, I am going to check my Ruckman Reference Bible to see if he says anything in the notes in here. Boy, it's been a long time since I've had this thing open. It's all marked up with a mechanical pencil and everything. But I much prefer my my Remarkable for the Bible reading and notes and things. So let's see. Here's wisdom. 603 score and 6. Reference 3. It'd probably be enough to read. It doesn't actually have anything about 616. And Highway 666, which got renamed, that runs in Colorado. Yeah, maybe I'll read this. It's quick enough. The number 666 is the brand name of a cough syrup and a highway in Colorado that runs through New Mexico and Salt Lake City. That highway has a lot of scary paranormal activity that goes on around it. And it twists up between the four corners like a snake wrapped around a cross, just for your thinking. It is, and I'm not sure how many of the missing 411 have occurred out around there, but apparently there's a lot of reptilians and stuff. It is the first 3 digits of the zip code of Topeka, Kansas. It used to be the area code of Reeves, Louisiana, before it was changed. It now is supposed to be the area code for some agency in the Department of Defense. And it's also apparently the address that the Google headquarters is at. The stupid Satanists use it in their worship services. And he says that because why would you worship the loser? Because he loses. So why would you worship him? That's stupid. The number appears 2 other times in Scripture. 2 Chronicles 9:13, dealing with Solomon's sin of multiplying gold. It's a sin according to Deuteronomy 17:17, which 1717 was the year that the Masonic Lodge was founded in Britain. That's interesting enough. That's from me, not the note. And Ezra 2:13, dealing with the lords of the rebellion. See notes on that verse. That's Ezra 2:13. You will notice in both of those instances that 666 is connected with the number 13. See the note on John 13:13. John 6, verse 66 deals with the disciples who turned away from Jesus Christ and stopped following him because they got, you guys remember, they got confused about, wait, why are you telling us to drink blood again? That's kind of understandable. I mean, you can't give the guys too much flack, I don't think. As usual, I'm gonna go to my bookshelf really quick and see if I can find the ancient. Oh, what is it? Uh, the last days according to the Church Fathers, something like that. Let me actually put that in the description too. End times by the Church Fathers book. Okay. Give me one moment and I'll locate that. There, look at that. That happened pretty quickly, didn't it? Hippolytus on the Antichrist. That's an interesting read. So that begins on page 36, which is 6 times 6. Kind of fun. And when you get bogged down in this, it's like, you can get to where you just forget the significance of this name and this number. I personally would not be surprised if what I've heard is true, that the name that the word in Greek, the name blasphemy or the name Jesus Christ, because if the thing is claiming to be a Jesus Christ, that's just blasphemy right there. Or even God's name, if that adds up in Greek to 666, that would make sense too, because that would be the name that the beast would be taking on blasphemously. Not that every word that adds up to 666 is the name of the beast or whatever. Like apparently there was one Greek poet that sounds like he's writing like bathroom literature. And he said that according to his calculations and his deep thoughts and stuff like this, the Greek word for what you poop out of and the Greek word for gold, they both add up to the same number. It's like, okay. Well, there may be reasons. And this whole practice was pretty popular too. There's some ancient Greek graffiti that said, so and so loves so and so, and it says that her name is, and then it gives just a number. It's like 500 something, and it's like, yeah, because the letters of her name. Simon, basically Simon loves the woman whose name's number is 513 or whatever, because that's what the letters of her name added up to. So it was kind of encoding what her name was, which is something sweet and sneaky that you could do. And make all the girls flock around and start calculating all of their names and everything. So mind games. Let's see. I want to find because Hippolytus apparently supports the 666 thing, and it's not just 666 versus 616, guys. I'm not sure where all of the confusion is coming from, but I don't think that it's just innocent little, oh, got a typo, It could be because there's different theories about who the Antichrist would be, so we're all just adding up the numbers of their names and just, having a heyday and stuff like that. But I mean, it could be that. That's a pretty I think it's a pretty logical explanation. Hey, cool, we got some people. I'm sorry, I was in the private chat. Completely forgot. And yes, Peter Ruckman does have a book on the Mark of the Beast. Okay, see if I can find that quote from Hippolytus real quick. The way that I believe it's Hippolytus that does. He talks about, I think it's him that talks about how he'll actually force the mark of the beast on people. Like apparently there'll be a lot of natural calamities that happen, and there'll be like no food, and he'll show up and he'll be like, guys, I can help you. If you take my mark and worship me, I can get you guys food. And so they're like, okay, please, we're all starving to death and stuff like this. So they take his mark and worship him, and he doesn't give them food. He doesn't follow through on his end of the bargain. Yeah, if any of you guys have that book by Ken Johnson called "The End Times" by the Ancient Church Fathers, feel free to let me know what page that's on, because I'm not. Two Advents of Messiah. Timing of the two witnesses. The earth beast explained. The number of the beast. Okay. All right, this will work. 50. This is on page 76. But now we shall speak of what is before us, for such measures will he to devise, seeking to afflict the saints in every way. For the prophet and apostle says, quote, Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 13:8. With respects to his name, or with respect to his name, it is not in our power to explain it exactly. As the blessed John understood it, it was instructed about it, but only to give a conjectural account of it. For when he appears, the Blessed One will show us what we seek to know. Yet, as far as our doubtful apprehension of the matter goes, we may speak. Many names indeed we find the letters of which are equivalent to this number, such as, for instance, the word Titan, an ancient and notable name, notable name, which that does not only just refer to the giants. Titan was also a man, I believe, who led a rebellion in Rome, if I'm not mistaken. And the giants were also called by his name, and he had a gang, basically, apparently, that was like called the Titans or something like this. I forget exactly how it all worked out, but I don't know if it was necessarily implied that they were all giants. You guys can see the we'll have to offer the PDF on our extras or something. It's called something like the Travels of Noah into Europe. You guys can check that out. Well, you guys are getting a lot of information tonight. I'm glad that you guys showed up. And if you're taking notes, there's just so much that people don't talk about when it comes to this. It was hard listening to what I did this past week, trying to figure out what to include, trying to get it all nailed down. And I don't speak Greek. I don't know the Greek letters. I don't know the gematria that all adds up and everything. I haven't gotten that far yet. It's just something that I'm introducing myself to at this point, and we'll research into it further. But this will document what I found. An ancient and notable name, or Evanthans. That's E V A N T H A S. Evanthas, I guess. For it too makes up the same number, and many others which might be found. But, as we have already said, the wound of the first beast was healed, and he, the second beast, was to make the image speak. That is to say, he should be powerful. And it is manifest to all that those who at present still hold the power of the power are Latins. If then we take the name as the name of a single man, it becomes Latinus. Therefore, we ought neither to give it out as if this were certainly his name, nor again ignore the fact that he may not be otherwise designated. But having the mystery of God in our heart, we ought to fear to keep faithfully what has been told us by the blessed prophets, in order that when those things come to pass, we may be prepared for them and not deceived. For when the times advance, he too, of whom these things are said, will be manifested. Then he goes on to talk about how Jordan falls to the Antichrist, and talks about Tyre and Beirut falling to the Antichrist after that. Pride of the Antichrist, and the Antichrist gathers his army. So it goes and goes and goes. Highly recommend that book. I will provide a link in the description. And we'll probably do that right after the live stream so I don't forget. Let's see. Hippolytus would have written, and I think the other guys deal with it too. Hippolytus was born in AD 170, and he wrote against all heresies, which was against the cults of his time. He stood against 2 of the Roman Catholic popes of his day because they were teaching heresy for money and were involved in gross immorality. For his testimony and historical information, see Gnostic Origins of Roman Catholicism. And we'll also add that. Gnostic Origins Roman Catholicism. Eventually, Pope Calixtus the first was removed from office. Hippolytus would have been the next Pope of Rome, but Calixtus refused to step down. His refusal created 2 popes. When this happened, the erring pope was still referred to as Pope, but the replacement, who was not powerful enough to expel the old pope, was called an anti-pope. What this means for us is that the very high-ranking Roman Catholic saint, almost a full pope himself, taught Protestant theology. We see this when looking at the 2 works authored by Hippolytus dealing specifically with end-time prophecy. The first one is entitled The Antichrist. The second one is entitled The End Times. Hippolytus died in 235. And I believe he also has Ephraim the Syrian, Justin Martyr, and Irenaeus in this book. So, highly instructive, highly interesting stuff. Whether or not you agree with them about the LXX or different things like that. And I'll also have to refer you to what's it called? Church Fathers. Oh, I forget what it's called. The other book that he wrote about the Church Fathers taught. I think it was his first book. First book. I'll add that later on. Okay. Back to my notes. So, yeah, Ruckman was no help on that passage, on that variant. And neither was kjvtoday.com, which is one of my go-tos for things like this. And sadly, Kinney, I don't know if you're listening to this or not in the future, but I didn't see anything on your website about it either. I did leave a comment, which I will get into more in depth later on. In a Facebook group that I'm part of called, Textus Receptus Academy? Yes. And I'll be getting into that later on. Oh, boy, guys, I tell you what. More things. So, there was a guy that I listened to named Jerry Helan, Healan. His little group sounded kind of culty, and they were pretty fixated on the whole sacred name thing. Which, for a good refutation of that, you guys can visit cardcarryingchristians.com/Hebrew Roots. You guys can find out more about what the 1st and 2nd century Christians taught about that whole sacred name stuff and how the Gnostics were introducing that into the early church, and they were being kicked out because they were putting that kind of significance on, the original Hebrew name of God and stuff like this. So original Christianity considered that superstitious nonsense a heresy. But more on that on our on our website. I'll include a link in the description. cardcarryingchristians.com/Hebrew roots. He claims that the mark of the beast is Sunday. So either a Seventh-day Adventist or highly influenced by Seventh-day Adventism, which is hilarious because they're worshiping the beast on Sunday, and it's like, okay, so if the mark of the beast is Sunday, when was the last time you saw some Christian going to church on Sunday with their Bible in their arm, their wife and children in tow or whatever, and they're going down the street, and something about their appearance seems off, and you look again, and you're shocked with awe and horror that they have the word Sunday tattooed on their foreheads. Not happened to my knowledge. If the mark of the beast is Sunday, when was the last time that you saw a Christian with the word Sunday tattooed on their right hand or their forehead? I can't remember the last time. And it's also interesting how many of the Seventh-day Adventists are nothing but cranky ex-Baptists who got converted by some, cult talk about holidays or who knows what, or maybe they were just bitter against, a Baptist church or something. It's really sad. But most converts to cults just come out of Christianity. It's super sad. But it's like, okay, so they're getting saved from having the mark of the beast because they used to go to church on Sunday, and apparently that's the mark of the beast, and they're not actually going to be burning in hell forever. They're becoming part of your cult, and now they're happy and they can go to heaven and things. It's like, okay, so you can be saved from getting the mark of the beast. That doesn't make sense according to Revelation 14. Explain, please. So, anyways, Irenaeus mentioned that it is error in the quotation that Jerry read. And angels is one thing that he mentioned, which I thought was interesting. How he got that. Um, oh, if I remember too, I'll include a video link for his. It's like 3 hours long and it's on YouTube. And like the first 2 hours are nothing but services will start soon. 2 hours of services will start soon. And it's just like, and then there's like maybe 40 minutes of content at the most. And then songs and stuff, and then, technical difficulties and things like that. And it's like, woo. But, I'm not going to fault them. I don't have the shiniest technology and stuff, everything going on myself anyways. No big deal. So yes, 666 in Hebrew apparently indicates fallen angels. I'm not sure if that's because fallen angels adds up to that number or what, but there's also a huge deal that people like prophecy watchers are making these days that fallen angels aren't actually demons. Or I guess they could be considered devils, but I'm not positive. I'm not sure what category fallen angels actually really fall into. I know Bill Schnebling's always said that devils and demons and stuff like this are like mosquitoes compared to a fallen angel. Apparently, a fallen angel is much more powerful and much more terrifying than a demon, which is a horrifying thing to think about. The emperor's name, apparently in Greek, Nero, Kaiser, adds up to 616. Nero Kaiser in Greek equals Neron Kaiser in Hebrew, and apparently Neron Kaiser adds up to 616, which I'd have to check that. Because everybody else that I've seen so far has Neron Kaiser adding up to 666, and if you drop the N, which has a value of 50, then you get 616. And he has an interesting word study on the worthless worship of the bull, the snake, and the sun. Because, yeah, it's a interesting roundabout. Not exactly a mind melt like it's supposed to be. It's more like a what kind of word study that is kind of a not a word study to try to prove that Sunday is the mark of the beast and it's associated with the worthless worship of the bull. Yeah, so it was an interesting thing, that's for sure. Not going to fault him too much, and I believe he was the only person that I saw that showed that um Jesus Christ in Greek actually adds up to 666. And I was like, "Perfect. Look at that. It adds up to the name of blasphemy." So if a beast has the name Jesus Christ written on its forehead, it's basically saying, "Oh, look, this is Jesus Christ." And that's blasphemy. So that's what that is. Um so it would make all the sense in the world for Christ's name in Greek to add up to 666. But then what he's trying to do is say, oh, you can't say Jesus Christ because, 666 adds up, that's Jesus Christ adds up to 666. Oh, don't use that. Say Yahshua, because all they, it was hilarious. The poor Jarian. Uh, it's not even Yeshua or it's literally he just says Joshua with a Y at the beginning instead of a J, like Yahshua. And it's like, okay, Yahshua, whatever. Let's see. And then I listened to a couple of other videos. I forget who they were by. One of them I thought was pretty interesting. So Nero Kaiser. Um, in Hebrew adds up to 666, in Latin adds up to 616, and in Greek adds up to 666. And that would make all the sense in the world if the author was a Hebrew speaker for Nero Kaiser's name to add up to 666 in Hebrew, which would, I believe, be the Neron Kaiser rendition. And then you would have a Greek speaking copyist or translator who would take it from there. The Hebrew text predicts Nero being raised from the dead at the end of days to wreak havoc on earth. That was another point. The Hebrew version equals 616 if you omit the N, making Neron Nero. 666, according to this one YouTuber who made a relatively short video that I was pretty impressed with. It was by Religion for Breakfast, I believe, is the name of his channel. 666 probably is probably the original reading. The earliest manuscript that we have says 666. Which I'm not sure if that would be referring to Sinaiticus or not, because I think Sinaiticus has Revelation, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, then the papyrus fragment, which is a fragment, it's not a manuscript. So, like, the oldest manuscript could say it, and then the oldest fragment would say something else. So I'd have to look into that more. Anybody listening who knows that, you can leave a comment or whatever and teach me. All ears. And we'll go through your guys' comments at the end. It's coming up. So the basic running theory is that everybody in the early times accepted that Nero was the Antichrist, and we saw from Hippolytus that that was not the case because he was just about as clueless about it as anybody. Oh, and I've heard claims that either Barack Obama or Adolf Hitler or people like this, their names add up to 666 somehow. And any old way you can slice it, people try to get everybody that way. And that makes sense if that's the way that John originally meant it to be, and that the revelation that he got was based on how the letters add up, which is not per se, you know, Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, blah blah blah. I think most languages have had this kind of a system, and I think there's even one available for English. In the Hebrew Kabbalah, the letters adding up is supposed to have a deeper, more significant meaning, where it seems like the popular use of gematria is just to give a word a number. Not necessarily to, oh my, look at how this one adds up, and like what I'm getting into here in a minute by a Gnostic. So buckle your seatbelts. Religion for Breakfast also mentions Bruce Metzger suggests that 616 is possibly from the Latin, which often excludes the N. It often does it. So that would make sense. And if you have 616 in a super early manuscript, then that would show that there was also a Latin text available at the time. Yeah, either that or the author spoke Latin or considered Latin for some reason higher than the Greek. For me, it would kind of confirm that Revelation could have been written in Latin, because if it's basically considered to be an expose of Rome, which it easily could be considered that way, considering how there's a city on 7 hills, which could also kind of be Jerusalem. I mean, I guess. So it would kind of make sense that it might have originally been written in Latin, but of course Jerry would be very adamant that it was originally written in Hebrew, and that it should say, I am the Aleph and Tav, and not the Alpha and Omega, or something else like this. Alright, let's move on into the next video, and then the comments from the Texas Receptus Academy. Wow, I tell you what, guys. So the Gnostic thing, I'm so sorry. It reminds me of 2 people watching this video, and it just reminds me, it's not saying these people are Gnostics and stuff like that. I mean, Roger from Mudfossil University, yes, he leans very heavily toward the Gnostic thing, and probably some of the stuff that he brings up is actually totally legit, but a lot of the Gnostic stuff is like, no, sorry. So, remembering 2 Corinthians 11:14-15, where the ministers, the servants of Satan, are transformed into ministers of righteousness. He's giving a Gnostic Sunday school class that he refers to. He refers to, I believe, part 9. I have not watched that. And I read that verse earlier today, and I was like, you know what? It sounds like he's talking about doppelgangers, people that are pretending to be apostles, like, hi, I'm John. It sounds like preaching another gospel, things like that. It's like, oh, is he talking about things like the Gospel of Peter and things like this, which are Gnostic texts? It sounds like what he's talking about in that passage in 2 Corinthians 11 is actually the pseudepigrapha or the Gnostic Gospels. I can't wait to read or listen to Ken Johnson's book on the demonic Gospels. For more on that, I'll include a link in the description. The demonic Gospels. And you can also check out our page, cardcarryingchristians.com/lostbooks. If you guys are enjoying this video, please don't forget to smash that old like button and grab the subscribe, stick it in your pocket, nonchalantly, you know, keep listening to the live stream. I'm enjoying it so far. I didn't think that I would. I was falling asleep at my desk for like 20 minutes before I started this this live stream. We started abominably late. And we're almost done. So the Gnostic guy talks about the patterns of biological chemistry and how 666 and 616 tie in to Nero in Greek. And also how it ties into carbon life forms, because apparently there are 666 electrons related to the stars orbiting the nucleus. He also talks about, or no, he doesn't talk about, but we are supposed to be, I believe, traveling at 666,000 miles per hour or something like this. I forget what I saw about the whole sun thing with our distance from the sun and how fast we're traveling around the sun and things like that. If any of you guys can find that chart, if you could share it in the Bible Version Conspiracy Facebook group, awesome. Thank you, you three, for sticking around. I hope you guys are enjoying the live stream. You must be, because it's happening and you're here. I appreciate it. Thank you. If it wasn't for you three guys watching right now, whoever you are, wherever you're from, if it wasn't for you doing it, we would not be here. We would not be recording this live stream. It just wouldn't happen. I appreciate you guys. You guys are making this possible. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for showing up for this channel. Okay, so he talks about Christ being born in stable carbon. So he ties stable together into it. So it's like, interesting. And he relates that to the mandorla symbol, which is two circles which intersect in the middle, where godhood intersects manhood. And he points out that the difference between 666 and 616 is 50. And 50 is the letter L in Roman numerals. And his title for that section is called The Lions, Ions in Zion. And who does this remind me of? I'm sorry, what's your name again? Gary or Jerry? Oh, where's that book? Oh, you know, the Concealed from Christians for the Glory of God. Oh, I forget his last name. I don't even remember. Whoever wrote that book, it reminds me of him. Not saying, necessarily, but I mean, kind of in a way. Lions, Ions in Zion. 50 in Roman numerals equals L. And I stopped about halfway and taking notes and listened to the rest of it because I was busy at the time. He's got like a signs and symbols YouTube channel or something. I forget what the name is. Let me see if I can grab that name of that video real quick. Library. History. It's called Matter via Imaginal : 666 VS 616. And the YouTube channel is called Symbols, Patterns, and Gnosis. I wouldn't recommend watching the video. I would listen to the video. I wouldn't watch the video because he has weird psychedelic images that he flashes up. I'm not sure if he's trying to prove a point or make things feel spacey or if he's, just trying to, encode messages into your brains, or I don't know what he's doing with it. But if you guys do tread on that Gnostic soil, it is 15 minutes and 22 seconds long, and it's kind of weird. And then he says, "Oh, and that L, if you bring that L in and put it in with 616, it looks like the first 6 looks like a B, and the 1 looks like an I, and the other 6 looks like a B. And you add L at the end, which is a value of 50, which would bring it up to 666. It's the word Bible." So he's like, yes, the Bible is God intersecting matter. So 616 and 666 are all the spiritual and the material worlds mashing together and stuff like this. So that's his whole interpretation of it. And he seems to completely forget that it's the number for the name of the beast. It's like he just keeps going on and on and on about carbon molecules and this just, ooh, sixes that look like bees and things like that. I'm sorry, it really sounds like the guy from uh uh Concealed from Christians for the Glory of God, John Rov or whatever his name is. Um, just but not trying to say that he's a closet Gnostic. Not trying to say that at all. He's got some pretty interesting stuff, and some of it's a little weird, but I'm just like, okay, I'll remember that and I'll keep watching, I guess. So, anyways, that's pretty much what I got from him. And also remember that Gnostics believe that Satan created the world and created matter. So, you might want to be careful about those kind of things. And oh, as Fritz Springmeier says, the religion of the Illuminati is Gnosticism. So that's kind of what we're dealing with when we deal with that. So let me get out the screen capture that I have of the post that I made. Do. Okay, so this is a post that I made in Textus Receptus Academy, hours and hours ago. Any good information about the variant in Revelation 13:18 regarding the number of the beast, 666 versus 616? James William Sheffield says, for Irenaeus, who wrote at the end of the 2nd century, 603 score and 6 was the preferred rendering. That's Heresies 5.30.1. And it was used by Hippolytus, Antichrist 48. Andreas of Caesarea, and most other ancient writers. And he gives a link to Digital Commons. If you guys want that link, you guys can message me or whatever. Robert Lee Vong commented and said, in Against Heresies, Book 5, Chapter 30, Irenaeus calls it an erroneous and spurious number. That's www.earlychristianwritings.com/texts/Irenaeus-book5.html. Luke Carpenter left quite a comment, and I'll save his for last. Will Kinney says, as far as I know, only one manuscript reads 610 instead of 666. And that is a manuscript C, which I believe indicates an unsealed codex when you have that capital letter, which is one of the Egyptian manuscripts. That's manuscript C. Gail Riplinger actually has mentioned it a couple of times too. She says, well, New Agers hang 666 over their door. New versions are trying to push its negative connotations out the back door. A note in the NASB and Living Bibles nudges readers to believe that the number to avoid is not 666 but 616. That would be by saying, oh, a couple of manuscripts say such and such. Oh my goodness, you can't say that. Oh my, wow, you mean really? That says that? So wow, that could really be the real number of the beast. Wow, stuff like that. Okay. Impressive to somebody that isn't actually looking at this subject carefully, I guess. Their readers are not told. Their readers are not told that only two insignificant manuscripts, that is C and 11, record the error. I'm not sure what manuscript 11 is. Like I said, I've had a week to prepare this, and time and things will get better as they age. Alrighty. That was on page 111. Kind of funny. And then again on page 553, she says about the Catholic Protestant Institute for New Testament Textual Research. The goal of the Institute is to find old corrupt editions of the Bible to bolster evidence for weakening the true Bible's texts. Catholic monasteries and Egyptian rubbish heaps are the habitual haunts of the grave digging. For example, the latest 2012 edition of the Nestle Allen 28th edition litters its apparatus with the new evidence for questioning the reading of Revelation 13:18, which identifies the number of the mark of the beast as 666. So, in other words, they're questioning the number, and that's the information that we get on that. So, not a lot of help, but that's okay, because you can't do everything in a 700-page book. So let me get to the Luke Carpenter comment. Oh boy, here we. All indications from what he says here, Luke Carpenter, is that there are 9 different ideas as to the number of the beast. So the number is not, in my mind, particularly significant. It may have something to do with the mark of the beast, but it's more so the name of the beast. And of course, if you have a pet person that you want to be the Antichrist, then it's going to be any number of numbers. So here's the breakdown. 690 was a variant in Cassiodorus. 667 is an alternative forms in an anonymous 7th century commentary. 666 is everything else. 665 is, I believe this would be a cursive manuscript, 2344. I'm a little rusty. 660 is what it says in 582, which is another manuscript, Armenian A, and Armenian 2, which I'm assuming that those would be the translations and possibly text correctors, like, scribe A and corrector 2 or something like this. 646 is given in the book of Armagh, Armagh, also in manuscript 110, 1704. Hasakir says these two might read 706, XPE, which those are not the actual Greek, those aren't the name of those letters, but I forget what they are. I'm pretty sure the P is a row, but anyways. I guess you could say XP sideways M. Oh, so it might say that in the 1704 manuscript. Alternative forms in the anonymous commentary mentioned above. 616 is the property of P115, manuscript C, minuscules 6 and 11, non-extant, which is interesting because non-extant. Wonder where it is. Tychonius, Caesarius, and the Donatist Liber Genealogus. And that's with a question mark, and I'm not sure how that connects to the Donatists or anything, but I would love to know more about that. And Armenian. Armenian 4, sorry. And then there is a name of a manuscript, which is, I'm assuming, German. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so this German manuscript, I guess, or at least the German name is Dusseldorf Universitätsbibliothek manuscript B3, copied in Corby in the 9th century. Latin source page 183. So that also says 616. And a faulty manuscript in Irenaeus' day. And that is 66 and 151 is in the Armenian 1. Yay. I tell you what, guys. That's my theory for now. I'm gonna be looking into it more in the future. We'll see what comes of this. I mean, guys, seriously, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different numbers of the name of the beast. And I'm assuming that all of those are just because either somebody has a pet Antichrist, which everybody's been called the Antichrist, it seems, and, different causes like that there. So, I did ask Luke. There are literally 9 numbers of the beast. Wow, that's crazy. What do you think is the cause of this mess? And as far as I'm aware, he hasn't gotten back to me yet about it, but that's okay. I'm hoping that he will at some point. And also it's interesting that there are 9 of them because, like, Bill Schneblin says the number 3 is the most selfish number. Well, the number 9, actually, he says, is the most selfish number because it always comes back to itself mathematically. So, like, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 minus 3 is 6, and 9 minus 3 is, and 3 is just one of those numbers that, oh, I forget. There's something special about it in math. I forget what it was. I don't remember. But he does describe 9 as the most selfish number. And it's also 6 upside down. But anyways. So, I'm probably going to leave it there for tonight. Opened up enough cans of worms, I believe. 6 is also the number of man, and remember, it is the name of a man that we're dealing with here, the man of sin, the son of perdition. I don't know what it adds up to. That'd be interesting. Adam created on the 6th day. Joshua being the first book in the Bible named after a man. It has 6 letters. Romans. Oh, and by the way, Joshua is also the 6th book of the Bible, and so is Romans. Romans, 6 letters, and it's the 6th book of the New Testament. Totally weird. And if you look in there, there are 6 verses up to chapter 6 that start, or no, they don't start. They have the word man as the 3rd word in the verse. I mean, the patterns are there, guys. I mean, it's indisputable. Highly recommend that you guys check out, and I'll put this in the description as well. cardcarryingchristians.com/King James Code. So check it out. Go to the website, check out Brother Brandon Peterson's book and videos, and also Mike Hoggard's books and videos. And there's many other authors that have written on the same and similar subjects. Incredible verse number patterns and everything that are consistent with biblical teaching, that are consistent with Bible prophecy, especially if you watch the Mike Hoggard stuff. He brings it very much into Bible prophecy. He deals with the number 666. He takes a whole hour and so to deal with that. We've been going for about an hour and a half, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. Oh, and by the way, guess where the 6th time is? That man being created on the 6th day. Guess where the 6th time in Romans, where man is the 6th word in the verse. It is none other than Romans 6, verse 6. Wow. I tell you what, guys. Let's see. Hi, says Spray Arm. Dolly Richardson, Monroe, South Carolina. Arlana, North Carolina. Here for you, Mississippi. Howdy ho from parts unknown. Tons of apocalyptic literature to the flames, Dan Wallace. Yeah, well, that's if it is 616. It would be like, yeah, well, I mean, but you don't have to rewrite everything. It's just a change of a number. It doesn't mess up the prophecy and everything. But anyways. Make sure you stay in prayer for the ministry. Satan doesn't like light shined on his work. I appreciate that. Every time a scribe falls asleep, the present day text critic will find an interesting reading, which is a candidate for the original text. Yeah, pretty much. And I would fall asleep enough. I'm telling you. I got them all. He's probably talking about the Ken Johnson books or something. Either that or the Ruckman commentaries. Ruckman's Gospel of John is a good one. If I wanted to sit down and read all the way through it, John would be a good one. Peter Ruckman has a book called The Mark of the Beast. Yes, he does. In the Forehead and Hand, Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their forehead. And says devils in Bible. Yes, it does. It says devils in the King James Bible. Demons or demons come from the Greek myth of memory serves. If memory serves. Got it. Okay, yep. Alrighty. So I think that's basically all the comments from the live chat. And yeah, if you guys think there's something that I missed in this live stream, if you guys have any prayer requests, like we mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, totally leave those in the comments or whatever. Email me. We'll put them on the prayer list. You can also add them next Friday when we go live. Probably going to be around 10:30 again, 10:39. I'm hoping to get to 9 o'clock. But we will see. You know, life and everything. And also, if you'd be interested in, I need to find a better time of day to read. Because we're working on a Gail Riplinger audiobook for New Age Bible versions, and it is just taking forever because I can't find the time to sit down and do the entire chapter, one right after another. And I'm thinking that if I just committed to one night a week reading a chapter on the live stream, that maybe that would work, and possibly making it a private thing that would only be accessible to, like, say, members of the Facebook group or something like this. And then we could sell it later on for public consumption. I don't know. It's a thought. So we will see. I appreciate your guys' insight and help this evening. I hope you guys found the video at least interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next one. Also, just in case, make sure that you click the bell for all notifications so that YouTube's algorithm does not decide that you don't need to listen to certain conspiracy theories. So, yeah. Is the 616 thing nefarious? In my mind, it doesn't look like it was. It doesn't look like it was at all. So I would have to be shown how somebody thinks that it was. And, basically, change my mind. I'm open to that. I used to think that it was totally nefarious. That 616 was, trying to cast doubt on whether or not the mark of the beast was 666. It doesn't seem nefarious to me. I'd appreciate any insight that you guys can offer on that. Any any data points, any, whatever you got. This is a conspiracy channel, and the whole thing is based on this stuff. So definitely supply that. And for other conspiracy theories that are turning out to be conspiracy facts, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. So yeah, have a good night. Thank you for watching. God bless, as always. And make sure that when you read your Bible, you're reading it like the devil's after it, because it truly is a Bible version conspiracy. Good night.